I'm Michael Vasku.
I'm Artist Klug. Together we are Vasku and Klug, a studio based in Vienna and in Prague, and we are also creative directors of Preciosa lighting.
So the work's title is Breath of Light. It's a lighting installation, but lighting sound installation. We call it a dynamic light. It's interactive, and the basic idea is to translate a human's breath into a path of light and into a flying sound in space.
The breath is usually invisible. That means unless it's very cold outside, you don't see it, but you can do a lot with it. And on the other side, it takes a lot of personal effort to breathe strong and blow strong into something. And with that, we are addressing not only the senses, what you see and what you hear, but also what you feel inside you when you blow for a long time into such an installation.
We realized that this breath is also in a relationship to the product that we quite often work with, which is a chandelier. Actually 1 year before we presented this concept. It was exactly 1 year before. It was in April in Milan, where we showed an exhibition of traditional historic chandeliers or traditional classic chandeliers that were lit only with candles. A lot of people don't know this today, or they don't notice it, that historic chandeliers were designed to be lit with candles. Today we just know them with bulbs and they look kind of strange, but if you have candles to them, it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. It's a beautiful situation, beautiful light, and there the reflections of the crystal start to really light the materials. Now it was an entire space lit, only with the candles, and the last candle made the difference that it was completely dark, and we thought, wow, this is a strong moment. How can we inverse this idea? How can we highlight this breath that it's more visible? And that's actually already how I'm describing it. That was the discussion about this moment and how to highlight it, how to visualize it. So step by step we came up to this here. Added this formal inspiration of soap bubbles to make it lighter, to make it not so heavy, not so serious, but that people also that are not related to design and not so maybe intellectual about art, that they don't have this barrier of interacting with it. So also the background color, very light, very positive, to break this barrier between art, serious art, and people who maybe don't go to a museum every month or every weekend and can identify different styles, but just to make it very human again.
The inspiration for this work are soap bubbles. That means a very, a thing we all know from our childhood or from celebrations all around the globe. It doesn't matter which kind of cultural background people have, they know this kind of action in a very positive and nice way. And this should be an abstract interpretation of soap bubbles, how they are flying, but just in light and not in physical way. I think they symbolize the lightness of joy. There is no function behind soap bubbles so far. So in that way, it's about the joy of doing that. And the soap bubbles are on the one side floating into the space, and there was a nice connection also to the material and the glass, or the crystal and glass.
Yeah, that's kind of more the formal inspiration. The conceptual inspiration, what we are quite often trying to do is to interpret something everybody knows and everybody experiences. So breathing is something most of the people did in their lives. And using this ordinary moment and highlighting it, celebrating it, or turning it into something different so that you're aware of it, and adding or translating this into a different awareness. So that's an inspiration that we usually, or that's an idea that we relate to in a lot of our works, that we will highlight one simple moment and make it maybe not so simple anymore, so people experience it better and they maybe consider it then differently.
The sounds are more atmospheric. So in general we differentiate between music and sound. The sounds which we choose here should also be in a way abstract and not realistically taken or inspired from somewhere else, and more reflect emotions and address emotions. That means when you blow just a little bit into it, it reacts in a very soft and delicate way. It sounds more fragile. The more you blow into it and stronger and longer, the more dramatic it gets, the louder it gets. And the more people are blowing and interacting with the installation, the more light it gets, and also the louder and the more faceted the sound gets. And also getting to the point when you overdo it, the sound is actually telling you intuitively that was too much. So it's actually reacting and giving you information without clearly saying something. Experience is a very important topic in this, because it should create the curiosity of the visitor and draw them in. There's something to discover. There is even more what they see than what they see in the first glance or in the first moment. From that point of view, it's about the experience and coming closer step by step. That means the first thing is you see the installation, you get the first mood also of the space in here. Then you come closer, you realize there's a point where you can blow in. There's another point, there's even a third one. It reacts a bit different. How is it reacting if I blow just quickly or just briefly? How is it changing if I extend my breath a bit? And all this is something to explore. So the most important part for us is draw the people in, evoke their curiosity, and let them discover the piece step by step. Even to the point when they maybe overdo it, and see how the thing is reacting and what is happening if not only one person but even more people are interacting. And this then creates the moment when it gets playful, and this is what we want to achieve, and create the fun or the joy when the people play with that. Simply play with it and enjoy it. This is all I can say.
I can say much more.
Yes, I
the main purpose of most of the installations that we do is to make the visitors forget a little bit about the time and about the world out there, and for the seconds and minutes that they are within this space, they should forget about everything else and just be in the moment, enjoy it, being surprised. And this is what we also quite often trying to observe when we see our installations. We are not standing there looking at the geometry, but we look at how people react, at the people's faces, and this is the biggest reward when you see it works. So we see design as a manipulation of people, but here a positive manipulation to create emotions.
I mean, in general, there's one more point. We decided clearly there are so many negative things out there, so we would like to address the positive ones and create these memories or these positive emotions with some joyful moments, playful moments, and create these memories hopefully people like to remember in the future.